Hello and welcome to another weekly update with me, Tom Morgan. So I hope you've had a good week. I hope you've done lots of things, got up to lots. It certainly feels like that for me. I spent quite a bit of time in London this week, and at the start of the week there was Future Decoded. Future Decoded, UK event run by Microsoft. I think kind of a bit like Microsoft Ignite, but come to the UK, slightly smaller scale. But loads and loads of good content, loads of good people from Microsoft there presenting, people from the community presenting, and all in all, very good. I did manage to go to some of the keynotes and some of the sessions. I've done a separate kind of day one video update. I never got around to doing a day two, unfortunately, but it's kind of more of a bit like day one. Good keynote, good hall, good expo hall. What was interesting actually from the keynote, especially the technical keynote, was really around the importance of AI and how that's going to play a really big part in the future, and is starting to play a part now. And we're seeing that feed through in things Microsoft are doing and in direction they're taking. It was good to have that hammered home. I think we're kind of seeing that on the ground as well. So interesting messages. So I did some videos throughout Future Decoded. I tried to kind of get a feel for the place with some walkthroughs of the expo hall. I tried live streaming. One of the things I found with live streaming is you need a really good internet connection to do live streaming properly, and conferences are not the best place to get a really good internet connection. It's a bit of a pain, so, but I'm pleased I did it. I'm pleased with some of the footage I've got. Hopefully, if you weren't there, you can use it to kind of get a feel for the kind of atmosphere, the kind of energy of the place, the size of it, the kind of people that are there, and the stuff that's going on. And then also on the second day, I spoke with in a session about cognitive services. Along with Martin Keane from Microsoft and Gary Pretty, who is another MVP, he's an MVP for AI. So the three of us spoke on a session around how you can use Microsoft Cognitive Services in the real world and for real kind of problems that are being solved today with cognitive services. So that was good fun. That was interesting. Great to see so many of you there. It was a kind of packed session, so that was really good. And expect to see more cognitive services stuff kind of through the rest of the year, I think, and into next year. So, blog post this week. The first one I did, which was interesting, was around and kind of following up from the news a couple of weeks ago around the roadmap that Microsoft put out around Microsoft Teams and the capabilities, the kind of Skype for Business capabilities that are coming to Microsoft Teams in the coming weeks and months. And obviously, along with that roadmap announcement came a PDF, and the PDF listed out in general kind of the features and when we could expect to see them. And then in tandem with that, the Office 365 Fast Track Roadmap website was updated with all of those features, and they're all dropped into the in development status, which makes a lot of sense. And over time, we'll see those features transition out of in development and into rolling out and then into fully deployed. And all of that is great. What I wanted to do was, what became obvious looking through the roadmap and through the roadmap website, is that actually what the Teams team are working on are a big bunch of new features and new capabilities designed for Teams and designed to kind of bring some of those Skype for Business workloads over to Teams. And what I couldn't see anywhere was all of those listed out in one place. And so I wanted to do that. So I spent some time to pull out the titles and the descriptions from the roadmap website and just put them all in one big unformatted list on one web page, so you can go and say these are the things that are being worked on right now for Microsoft Teams. So if there is a blocker for deployment in your organization, then you should go and check this list, and if the thing you are blocked on is in this list, then you should know that it's going to get resolved soon. So I wanted to kind of do that and make a nice, easy, searchable reference point for everyone to go and just get that list and just be able to see what's on it. And what I'll do as well is kind of update it as things go live, as things get rolled out. So then we'll be able to see the things that are now in Teams that weren't before. So that's one blog post I did, and the other one was a bit longer and a bit more in depth. And the title of this one is interesting. So the title starts by posing a question around Microsoft Teams and why it's not in the Windows Store. Now, when you think about it, it should be in the Windows Store, right? Microsoft are keen for applications to be in the store. They see the store as a good way of users loading applications that are trusted, and in fact for Windows 10S it's the only way that users will get their applications. They have to go through the store for their applications. So it's strange to see something like Teams that Microsoft are investing so much time and effort into and are saying, this is the primary communications tool. It is kind of strange that that's not in the store. But actually when you dig into it, there's a really good reason why it's not in the store. And in fact, it soon will be in the store. And that's all just down to the technology that's being used. So there is a new kind of, not technology, but like a style, I suppose, or an approach called Progressive Web Applications, or PWAs for short. It's not a Microsoft idea, it's actually a Google idea. And in the blog post, I go through the history and talk about it and what it means and why it's important and what Microsoft are doing about it. And the fact that Teams is going to be a PWA app. I think it's going to be the first serious PWA app that Microsoft do. And that means that it will come to the store. And so that's interesting. It's kind of the sub kind of messaging is interesting there as well, because I keep saying, like on a lot of these updates, actually, it's kind of new Microsoft. Stuff is open source, stuff is available, it works on all devices. This is not the old Microsoft kind of command and control walled garden. This is very making it work wherever users are and using whatever tools and capabilities are available to make that happen. And we really see that here with PWAs, because this is a Google idea, and Microsoft and Google have got together along with some other partners to say, well, this seems like the right answer for users and the best approach of the technology. Let's use this, even though it wasn't invented here. And I think that's really good. I think that's really positive. And so we'll look out for that. Don't have any particular timelines, I don't think, on when that's going to happen. But it'll be interesting when it does. I think probably you won't see a ton of difference when it does happen, apart from that it'll kind of switch over to being in the store. It'll be a store app, and that's it. But you'll probably still be able to go to a website and get it, because that's one of the characteristics of a progressive web app. But it's interesting to see it under the hood. What's really interesting as well, actually, is to consider, well, this whole approach of these kind of web-first applications that also work well natively has worked out really well for Teams. I think it's been a really good kind of helper for adoption, that these things work everywhere and that everybody can get going with them, regardless of whether they're on a Microsoft Windows device, or whether they're on a Mac, whether they're on phones and iPhones and Androids or whatever. And I think that served it really well, and it served the Teams rollout really well. And I think they've picked up on that. So I think it'd be really interesting to see if they look at any other workloads and say, hey, could we make these progressive web apps as well? And this is not my idea, by the way. You should go and listen to Paul Thurrott at Windows Weekly. This is his thinking, but I absolutely agree with it. And I think it's a really interesting idea. And I'm not talking big Office applications like Word and Excel, but something Paul mentioned that really stuck was Outlook and the workloads of Outlook. Because actually the workloads of Outlook are not more complicated than those of Teams. And I would argue actually technically they're less complicated. You haven't got the audio video problems and challenges that you have with Teams. Essentially Outlook is, trading bits of text and some images around, and that's kind of it. I don't mean to That's not meant as a slur on the Outlook guys or anything like that, but in terms of technology, what I'm saying is this is a good fit for a PWA potentially. And actually Microsoft have lots and lots of Outlook clients that they have to support, that they have to update, that are big, there's a big security footprint there. So being able to boil all those down into a single application that just works anywhere, I think that's very compelling for Microsoft. So I think watch this space on that. It'll be interesting to see. Other news this week. So it's a good day for the UK. Microsoft Teams launches the first ever UK as the first place that you can geolocate your Teams instance. So what I mean by that is that when you go and sign up for Teams and you enable Teams for the first time, if you have a UK tenant, then your Teams instance will run out of the UK data centres and it won't leave UK soil. That's important for government, it's important for regulated authority industries. There are some gotchas, so I've linked to a blog post that you should definitely read because there are some definite gotchas to this. It's new customers only. If you remember the Halifax advert, like brand new customers only. Not existing customers who are now at this point probably on US-based tenants or like EU tenants or somewhere else. And there are kind of a bunch of do's and don'ts to be aware of as well. So if that's of interest to you, go and check that out. And then finally, there's something for IT pros, not really dev at all. It's Microsoft Teams and what you need to know in IT. So it's aimed squarely at IT pros, and it's one of the Microsoft Mechanics live videos. So it's good. It's only 15 minutes long, something like that. It's a YouTube video, and it's good. It goes into some detail about things for IT pros, what you need to think about, and what management controls there are, what to plan for, and all that kind of stuff. So either that's useful to you, hopefully, and you can watch it, or you can pass it to one of your IT Pro colleagues to look at themselves. All right, I think that's everything for this week. So have a good rest of the weekend and a good week next week, and I shall speak to you again next time.